Hey, everybody, and welcome in. It's the Poor Man Fantasy Football League podcast. We're the fantasy football show that gives you a peek inside the life and times of our Dynasty League. I'm your host, Mike, and with me, as always, is my friend Andrew. And this week it is week 14, talking about week 13, the week that was. And man, Christmas is creeping up. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everybody. It is Wednesday night, December 4th. Andrew, how you doing?
Good, good. And yourself?
Well, I'm doing fantastic, because Black Friday turned out to be a very, very good day in our household. And I heard it crept over to your household.
For Black Friday?
Yeah, because our wives decided to do some shopping and then
Yeah,
finally solidified their purchases by
yes.
borrowing my credit card. And then I'm like, what is this? They were doing this? This is happening? And what we're talking about,
I
folks,
don't have to
is
pull my credit card out until January.
you didn't.
Yeah, but she used hers. I'll have to use
Oh, okay, okay. There
my
we go. There
my
we go. Okay.
US,
Okay.
my American card.
Right. All right. Well, our wives found us a Black Friday travel deal.
Yes.
We're going to Las Cabos come mid-January for a little bit of reprieve. Not even like 40 some days away.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, mine gets even better.
Okay.
So you and I are going Saturday to Saturday. I come home Sunday, Monday. We fly out Tuesday to go to Phoenix for a week.
Are you serious?
Yep.
You're just taking 2 weeks off and a bit right there.
Yeah.
New job. Screw you guys.
Well, I told them long ago because my wife had been talking about this since
They have been.
summer,
Yeah.
and our other friends that we're going to Phoenix with, that was the group that we went to Jamaica with like 30 people. A smaller group said, well, let's do Arizona this year. That was supposed to kind of be at the end of February, but they bumped it up. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Good times. Knowing that you're going to Arizona,
yes.
is there a football game? And are you going?
That would be during the playoffs, so I doubt it. The Cardinals aren't going to make
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
That would be, I get back February 4th. So
Jeez.
that Sunday would be the conference
Super.
finals.
Yeah. Sunday, February 9th is a Super Bowl.
Well, there you go. So actually, it would be the week. There wouldn't be any football that week because that would be the week.
Pro Bowl. Yeah. Man. So that means when we go, what happens during the week that we go?
It will be the conference final when we're gone.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll have to film something there.
Well, knowing who could be in the conference final, yes, I'll have to bring all of my regalia.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. And just be the last time we went, or last time I traveled, the Lions, I got to watch the Lions play in a playoff game while I was in Mexico. That was fantastic. And
And
then it'd
then
be great.
the next week I went to Jamaica and watched the Lions get knocked out and the Chiefs. Yeah, and the Chiefs go on to beat Baltimore or
I
Buffalo.
forgot who they.
I think it was
I thought it was
Buffalo.
Baltimore. Was it Buffalo? I don't know. They beat somebody legitimately,
Yeah.
not
Yes.
haphazardly. Like, that was legitimate
Yes.
win, that one.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be good. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that when I go, I run into other Lions fans at the resort like I did last year. That was a treat.
Yeah, that would be some.
Speaking of running into Lions fans, here in the city of Edmonton, I don't expect to run into many Detroit Lion fans.
No,
But
there'd be more like the Chiefs and the Niners and
Patriots, right? Big names.
the Raiders.
Yeah. I ran into one out in the wild. I was at work at the Clairview Community Rec Center.
Go figure.
Yeah. the ghettoest and scariest of all the rec centers. I was up there doing some work. I was in second floor, the fitness area, and this guy came up to ask me and say, "Hey man, do you know what all that sound is?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's me. I'm testing the system. Like, I'm just doing some checks." And I was like, "Hey man, that's a nice shirt. I like that. It says Detroit Lions." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Go Detroit." And he puts his arms up like this, and he's got like Detroit Lions tattooed across his forearms. And I was like, "Oh, dude, that's sweet." And then he noticed my Michigan hat, and he's like, "Wait a second, are you a fan?" And I was like, "Yeah." So then we start talking, and he's legit from Detroit. And then he's asking questions like, I'm a fan, man, but I only like was there for a couple months for work. So I did not like I don't know the lingo of the communities and stuff. So he's dropping stuff and I was like, that's cool, man. I don't know that. I'm a Lions fan though. And he's talking about how like it was so scary growing up there, living there. And then a couple of years ago he decided to pack up and move. And he came to Edmonton and he's like a an automation worker. So he used to do in like car factories, build factories and maintain automation equipment. And he's doing that up here for another company. And then he's talking about like how crazy it is, how he can't carry a gun anymore, and like he can't shoot people who come into his property because like he's like that's an issue right now. Is people just like randomly just hanging out in my backyard, and I just can't do anything about it. I was like, huh,
Yeah, you
that
can.
must be it. That
Yeah, you
must
can
just be.
move to a.
Well, you can if you're living up the north side there. It's not a great neighborhood, but it was funny to connect with him, chat some football. He's also a Wolverines fan, so that was also a plus.
There you go. So now, what he wants to hook up with you once a week? That deal?
No, no. When his, I'm assuming his wife was also working out, she came over and gave him. She spoke in a language I did not understand. He just like, yes, ma'am, and like off he went to go help her with her exercises. Now she spoke English, but what type of English that was, I have no idea because it felt like it was 9 billion words a second, and like it was just blah, 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 blah. I was like, what? And he just like off he went.
She's probably basically saying, "Leave that nice man alone and let him get back to
Yeah,
work."
something like that. Yeah, yeah. It was good. Maybe I'll see him again. Maybe I won't. Probably won't because I don't think I'll be back at that rec center for a while.
Well, you'd hope not.
Hey, it's getting better. It's getting better. They have buttons now that lock doors and set off alarms, courtesy of yours truly. Yep. Anyways, let's get into some football news.
Yes.
Big news off the top, no surprise here, is Matt Eberflus was fired by the Bears after not calling a timeout and blowing the game against the Detroit Lions. Thank you for doing that, by the way, Matt. Totally appreciate it. Totally deserves to be fired. The offensive coordinator change really helped the team kind of like get some momentum going, but coaching still needs to be fixed. And I
Yeah.
did see an interesting reel where the team does terrible. They get a new coach and GM. They do their best to survive as long as they can. They get the first overall pick, they draft, and then the following year they get fired. That and this is the third time this has happened where coach comes in, it's not their dude, they move on, they draft somebody else, it fails miserably, they get fired, and then blah, guy gets cut. Although I think Caleb Williams has a chance for success versus the previous quarterbacks they have drafted.
I don't know. They said that about Fields as well, but
I don't know. Caleb Williams at least has shown that he can throw the ball, and oh man, I feel for him. I hope it works out.
yeah.
Yeah. Other news: a quarterback Trevor Lawrence was put on IR with possibly ending, which might possibly end his season. And
Probably
my
end his
personal,
career.
I don't think it'll end his career. You think it'll end his career?
He's no good.
Well, okay, that's a different story. That's a different matter. This concussion isn't going to end his career. He just sucked at football.
Yeah, but this might be the nail in the coffin to say, okay, time for you to go be
We're
a
going to
third
use
string.
this as a
You'll be
way
a
to
third
escape.
string. You'll be a third string somewhere.
Okay.
You're not starter material.
We're going to go put you the same place Deshaun Watson is. We're going to go put you as a third string, high paid quarterback and draft somebody else to replace you. Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I just saw this news after you posted it here. I read it online. I didn't know this happened. This is crazy. Ravens wide receiver Deontay Johnson was suspended one game by the team for conduct unbecoming or detrimental to the team, which turns out he refused to play versus the Eagles.
Yeah. This all started a couple days ago. I guess there must have been some beating or something after the weekend. Because there was another headline that said, coach is unsure what he's going to do with Johnson.
Yeah, I thought that I
And
read
then
that.
today, the headline is they've decided they've suspended him for the one game without pay. And you know what? You prima donna little bee with an itch. You're paid to play. It does not matter what team you're playing against. You're paid to play. You don't want to play? Then go sit on the bench and don't collect a paycheck. This is where the league and the world is becoming too entitled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you, my boss, what I'm gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. And no, the world doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.
Well, that works where I work for a lot of people, oddly enough. But is that really what he did? Is he didn't want to play?
That's what the story is saying. But
Now, I know he was unhappy with his involvement in the game plan when he was traded in that first week because he essentially was not worked in or targeted.
yeah,
Huh.
but again, your attitude like that, Le'Veon Bell, same type of garbage. I'm not getting what I want, so I'm not gonna participate. And the teams need to start pushing back and say, no, you're being paid a lot of money. Get your get your poop together
Mm-hmm.
and play.
It should not be this way. You should not have. That's the tail wagging the dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I understand from a Ravens point of view when they committed the trade, the draft pick they gave is far less than the draft pick they will receive as a compensatory pick in the upcoming draft. So they just, hey, you know what? We'll trade for you. We're not going to use you. And that's
Yeah.
kind of a rude maneuver to do that to a player because that's a full business decision saying, you know what, we don't need you and we're not really going to work you into the system, but we see a situation where, hey, you're a valuable asset. We'll go and get you for a low value, bring you onto the team, let you ride the pine, and then come springtime when you go sign a deal somewhere else because there's no way you're sticking around here, we'll get a third round compensatory pick and actually move up in the draft as a result.
Yes, you're right. It's both sides of it. Neither one of them has a clean backyard
No,
in this dealings, but still, you're under contract to be played. It's the coach's decision whether you're going to play or not, or whether you're going to get
true.
targets or not.
You are a commodity in this system, so you better
Yeah.
act
And
accordingly because
here's
that
the
will
thing.
impact you going forward.
Yeah, your crappy attitude is not going to get you paid unless you go to some crappy team that's like Cleveland,
Desperate.
who's
Hey, but
willing to
he's
throw out
always
money
played for
for.
crappy teams.
Yeah, yes, but it is. It's like, if I was the quarterback and my one of my wide receivers was beaking like this, I wouldn't throw the ball to him. You better be the most wide open guy in the world, and then maybe I give you the third look and then throw the ball to you
Because I want to win.
because I want to win. I wouldn't be calling plays as him as the number one
As the
receiver.
number one
I'd be
target,
calling
yeah.
plays that you're the number 3 or number 4 option. Hell, I'd hand the ball off before I throw it to you, just because you're being an ass and making our lives as a team who is a playoff contender and a Super Bowl contender. They are that quality of a team, and now you're causing disruption in our locker room. You're you're holding back another player who does want to play and who may have a great game in the next 2 or 3 games, would be valuable for us, but yet you're going to take up space and be a donkey about it. Like, no, I got no respect for guys like that. None whatsoever.
Maybe that should be his new nickname, Donkey.
Yeah. Donkey Johnson.
It's right there. Donkey Johnson. So for anybody out there who actually owns Deontay Johnson, please rename him Donkey Johnson, okay? And
I'll
that's
just call
how
him
I'll
Hulk
know that
Hogan.
you listen to this part of the show is that you renamed him Donkey Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to some league talk. Starting with the sleeper report. Sleeper report. Sleeper report. This is where we look at how Sleeper graded us on our week 13 performance. Off the top is going to be the best manager. This is a guy who was so good at his roster, he got recognized for it. And that goes to Marvin, aka Ice and Metal, at 94% accuracy. Congratulations. The worst manager goes to a surprise candidate. In this case, Juan,
Yeah.
aka Juan Two Tree, a guy who's been on an absolute tear, pushing for the playoffs, and that stumbling block might have cost him. He's currently at 59% accuracy on setting his roster. So that is a blow. And to make matters worse, he's also in this next award, narrowest victory. Bryce beat Juan by 8.5 points as a result because of the points Juan left on his bench.
Yeah.
So that's too bad. For that, I got to give you this one. This one might be more appropriate though. All right, get back into
Or the
get
help I've fallen and I can't get up.
yeah. That's a good one
That
too.
might be the rest of his season.
Hey, he has one chance here to pull up his socks. All right. Okay. We'll talk about that in a second, actually. Highest score of the week goes to Slick. He's back in the win column. He's still fighting for a playoff spot. Got a big win with 157.6 points. Congratulations there, Slick. And the lowest score of the week, and this week's poor man of the week, is no stranger to this particular award this year, goes to our friend and co-host Andrew with 64.74. And that's not a surprise because you did sell off because you're planning for the future. And for that, we got to give you the sploosh.
And it could be even worse this week because half my bench is on bye this week.
Oh, this is a terrible week. This is this year's bye apocalypse. 6 teams on bye in week 14. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So tough. And some good teams, some good assets, which is really going to make for some struggles for some guys to fight for that last playoff spot. And for some guys to defend that playoff spot to stave off those up and comers. So here's what we're looking at, folks. It is a trade deadline Monday night after the Monday Night Football game. Trades will be locked. So if you need to make a trade, make sure you get it in and you have it negotiated and done, ready to go, because this is your last week. Next week, we do have our last week of the season, which is 15. Our playoffs are weeks 16 and 17. So no trades after Monday Night Football. You've all been warned. No waivers have run that are of note. I think one went. Yeah, we got Sincere McCormick was picked up by Donnie. That's a running back for the Raiders. He's running back number 4 on their depth chart, but some injuries. He's getting some play time. And then Patrick Taylor, running back for San Francisco, was picked up by Bryce. Woohoo. Now let's talk about the run for the playoffs. As of last week, because of the matchups and how they played out, Juan was officially eliminated. He has a 0% chance of making the playoffs now. And another player took.
That means I got somebody down in the zeros with me.
Yes. So officially, here's who's left in the playoff running. Marvin sits at number 1 and has a 100% chance of finishing number 1. We've got Little Baby Sheepman with a 99.46% chance. That last chance, he has a 1.31% chance of being eliminated from the playoffs. He essentially has to lose the next 2 games, and 3 of us have to win out, but score a ton of points to get the tie differential to be able to knock him out. Josh, aka the Multi-Beast, currently sits at 97.45% to make the playoffs, but he has a 9% chance of being eliminated. Not very likely. Okay. It's a very good chance those 3 guys are going to make it. So really, it's just one playoff spot in actuality that is up for grabs. I am sitting at 55.4%. Bryce jumped up in a big way with his win this last week. He's sitting at 16.4%. And Slick, because of his big win, is sitting at 31.6%. Now that right there is amazing that the 3 of us are fighting for this last playoff spot. Now, the picture I want to paint for you guys is this. The next 2 matchups, Slick and Bryce face off this week. Next week, Bryce and I face off. Here's the scenarios I wanted to draw. For me to make the playoffs with the highest percentage, I need to win 1 week, either week 14, week 15, or win both. I'm in. I win 1, I'll either week 15 and 14, and lose the other one. Slick has to lose one of those weeks. Okay. And I have to outscore Slick I have to outscore Slick. Right now, I have the point differential, the tiebreaker, so I have to continue to outscore him. But he did close the gap quite a bit this week. So those are my scenario. Win one matchup, and my chances go through the roof. Here's Slick's chances because he's a second man up. Slick has to win both matchups, and I have to lose one, and Slick is in. That's scenario one. Scenario two, Slick has to win one of week 14 or 15, losing the other one. I have to lose one or the other two. I have to lose one of my two matchups, and he has to outscore me by 43.4 points in those 2 weeks. Okay, those are his scenarios. Here's Bryce's chances, and this is wild. Bryce has to win the next two matchups. He has to beat Slick, and he has to beat me. If he wins both of those matchups, he essentially makes it into the playoff because we don't have the wins. He would have one more win than both of us. He can't go into the playoffs without two wins. One win is not enough because he will not be able to get the tiebreaker because one of us will have gone to 8 and 7. Yeah, and he can't get to 8 and 7 unless he wins both. So he has to get two wins. And in doing so, with those two wins, he has to score more than 28 points or more to beat us in the tiebreaker for points for. That's a scenario. But because we both play, Blick and I both play Bryce, he has a serious, legitimate chance of making the playoffs here. Which is really exciting when you're looking at I don't know, like looking at this is like, to me, this is fantastic. I got to beat Marvin, which is a big matchup, and then I got to beat Bryce. If I beat one of those two, my chances go through the roof. But if Bryce beats both Slick and I, which on the moment he's currently having a relatively good run, it's possible. What are your
Well,
thoughts?
you better pray you beat him in week 15.
I'm okay. Here's what I need. If Slick beats Bryce, my chances drop dramatically making the playoffs. Right? So if Slick wins and I lose to Marvin, then Slick is currently in that last playoff spot. Then I would have to beat Bryce in week 15, and Slick would have to lose in week 15, and then the points would have to matter, right? So that's a scenario that terrifies me. The scenario I want is I just win 9x2 matchups and I'm done. I'm in.
Yeah.
But it could go either way, and the person who holds all the cards right now is Bryce. Bryce is the guy who's going to dictate who really makes it in or not. Either he's going to lose out to Slick or to me, and then that person essentially will get in, or he's going to win out and grant himself access to the playoffs.
Well, you could go shopping. You still have your first and second round pick.
I did. I've already talked to Bryce. Is that what I thought about buying out his players so that he can't beat me?
Well, there's that, but
There's that, right? That's one way to get a victory.
but here's the thing, though. Um if Bryce loses this week, then you could start maybe buying something off of him, or you could go after, you know, you could go after Donnie or Juan or
I've
Shervin
reached
or
out to both of
myself.
those individuals for possible trade candidates. I think Donnie is good where he's at. He doesn't have a lot of assets that he's willing to sell, at least not at a reasonable price, because I'm pretty cheap to begin with.
Yeah.
Can't. And Juan, maybe he has not got back to me with with what could be done.
Mm-hmm.
Shervin, I have not heard back from Shervin. I've reached out to him to see what might be possible. I spoke to Bryce, and when speaking to Bryce, that's when I came to this conclusion. It was when I started looking at the odds, and I'm like, oh crap, yeah, you really do have a chance here. So we were chatting earlier today, and I was like, yeah, man, this is the scenario. Like, this is where we are at. Like, this is where I'm at. This is where you're at. This is where Slick is at. So I was like, I get you don't want to sell because you want to see what happens. Maybe if you lose this matchup against Slick, some of your assets become available, but not right now.
Yeah.
Whew, it's tough. It's exciting,
Very
though.
much so.
Mm-hmm. That said, let's talk a little bit about the matchups from last week. Matchup number 1, Mike versus Donnie. I came out on top. Everyone picked me, so we all earned a point. Matchup 2, Bryce versus Juan, which was a split decision, and it ended up being the closest matchup of the week. I went, sorry, Andrew, you went Bryce, Josh went Bryce, Gabriel went Bryce. You guys all scored points. Donnie and I did not. Slick versus Little Baby Sheepman. It was a sweep. We all chose Little Baby Sheepman, but he did not come through. Slick did, so nobody gets a point there. Chervin versus Marvin. Everybody picked Marvin, but me, I picked Chervin and did not get that win. And then Andrew versus Josh. Everybody picked Josh, so they all came up. Now, I went 2 and 3. You went 4 and 1. Donnie went 3 and 2. Josh went 4 and 1, and Gabriel went 4 and 1. However, there can be, well, essentially at this point, 2 number ones in this league. I'm at 37 and 28, sitting there at the very bottom. Andrew, you're tied at first place with 40 and 25, with Josh, who's 40 and 20. Donnie and Gabriel are tied at 39 and 26 and 39 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a look at this week's matchups, kind of foreshadowed a little bit. Matchup number 1 is Mike versus Marvin. The only thing I've got going for me is that it's the weird week 14 by apocalypse. And my opponent has a few players that are off this week. So right now I am projected to do 122 and Marvin is projected to do 106. So here's what I'm running out with. I'm going with Russell Wilson against Cleveland, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, Mike Evans and A.J. Brown. Trey McBride is my tight end. I've got Adam Thielen in my flex with James Conner and Alvin Kamara. If that doesn't tell you the state of the week 14 BS, I'm not sure what is if I'm playing Adam Thielen off of a strong play last week. I don't know how well he'll do this week, but
And Mike Evans didn't practice today with
he did
a calf and a hamstring injury.
miss his practice dealing with 2 injuries. Calf and hamstring, was held out with the first practice of the week, Wednesday, both calf. Oh no.
So do you have something that you could throw in there?
Let's have a look. Well, I've got Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks might be, he's not at practice. Why is he not at practice? According to Calvin Watkins of the Dallas News, Dallas receivers CeeDee Lamb, shoulder, Brandon Cooks, knee, were not seen at practice on Wednesday. Fantasy managers should pay close attention to their initial status as the practice report on Thursday, as the Cowboys do not play until Monday evening. Now,
yeah, but you could always throw Thielen in the wide receiver, put Evans on your flex, and then you could always throw in Laporta or Hawkinson.
Those would I'd probably go Laporta in this particular matchup against Green Bay.
Yeah,
that would be my flex alternate. So that's the scenario I'm looking at. Marvin, on the other hand,
nothing on his bench. Lots of buys.
Yeah, he is devoid of options because of all the bye week. It's either injuries or buys. He's got Joe Burrow, Amir Abdullah, Josh Jacobs, Justin Jefferson, Amon St. Brown, Jonnu Smith, DK Metcalf, who also didn't practice this week with a shoulder injury, Garrett Wilson, and Tank Bigsby. So I'm liking my chances.
Well,
so I picked myself. Donnie picked me. However, I notice Gabriel picked Marvin. No response from Josh yet. And Andrew, do you want to explain yourself on this one?
I just think your team's not going to produce what they predict.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking guys like Thielen, good luck.
Okay, I'll give you the Thielen one.
Russell Wilson, I don't know. He's only projected to get 19 points, but still.
I will take that against a James. Okay, here's my thinking. Russell Wilson can produce when forced to produce. How do you get into a position where you're forced to produce? You got a wild man in Jameis Winston who will chuck that ball to his own detriment. He will score 5 touchdowns and might throw 5 picks in the same game. So I'm betting on Jameis Winston going out there, throwing it 60 times, getting a ton of yards and touchdowns, forcing forcing Russell Wilson to retaliate.
Could be, yeah. I think Montgomery and Gibbs,
Hmm.
if they fall behind Green Bay, then they're going to have to abandon the run game to throw. So that could potentially hurt you. I think this is going to be a tight game.
Yeah,
A
I
lot of people are picking Green Bay, unfortunately.
the defensive injuries that the Lions have is going to make this a high scoring game. So I'm betting on the offense. Jared Goff might be a good play because he's at home in the dome.
Yeah.
So he might be a good play this week. But yeah, you're right. The Green Bay defense is tough. They're no cakewalk. The last time these two teams played, it was a battle. And I expect it to be a battle this week too.
Yeah. And again, if Green Bay goes up by 2 touchdowns, then Detroit's going to have to chuck it instead of run it. So this is where I don't know if you'll actually get your 120 points, and it might be a little bit closer. So that's why I picked Marvin, and also because of Gabriel. I can't go against Gabriel.
Oh, you want to be buddies. I got it. Okay. You want to be buddies with little baby sheep man.
Yeah,
Okay, matchup number 2 I got here is Little Baby Sheep Man versus Juan. This is an interesting matchup because right now they're projected to be super close. I went with Juan because all right,
because you need the upset.
no, because the upset isn't really going to impact us. The chances of Little Baby Sheep Man losing this week and then again next week and being knocked out of the playoffs was 1%, less
Yeah,
than 2%. So it's not very likely. However, I think the threat of losing this week is real because here's what he's rocking. Little Baby Sheep Man has got Justin Herbert against KC. Good matchup. Nick Chubb against Pittsburgh. Kenneth Walker against Arizona. Jamar Chase. Amari Cooper, who hasn't performed. Brock Bowers, who's awesome. Elijah Moore, who's requiring, James
of
Winston to throw that
ambulance.
ball a lot, right? Marvin Harrison and Jackson Smith Najigba. Like, okay, I really like the lineup. It's a good looking lineup. He doesn't have anything on his bench to really pivot to because of the buys and injuries. So, best lineup. I like it. It's actually pretty good looking.
Yeah,
On the other side, Juan has got Jalen Hurts, Rashad White, who's lost his job to Bucky Irving, Chuba Hubbard against a tough defense, Tyreek Hill, who's got a broken wrist, Jacoby Myers, Travis Kelsey, Nikini Westbrook. What is his name? Nick Westbrook Ikine. There
yeah,
we go. Guy who seems to catch a touchdown every week. And then Jerry Judy and Devontae Adams. I think the big explosive outcomes are on Juan's side, not on Gabriel's side.
could be. He's just got so many buys and guys that aren't going to play. What's going to hurt him is Chuba Hubbard's lost his job, and White has lost his job.
You think Chuba Hubbard lost his job?
I think so after
I
last
think
week.
he just got paid, and he was up against Tampa Bay where things did not go his way.
I know, but I think I
You
he's
think
going to be on a
Jonathan
short.
Brooks took it?
I think it's going to be he's going to be on. Hubbard will be on a short leash. If he doesn't break one early, they're going to switch, and they might not look.
Okay. All right. Well, I
But
picked Juan for the proverbial upset this week. You, Donnie, and Gabriel all picked Little Baby Sheepman.
yes,
Yeah.
I think it's a he's got the potential for a higher ceiling. Like Nick Chubb could walk all over Pittsburgh. Jamar Chase could have a big game against Dallas because they seem to suck. Cooper against the Rams could have a big game. Brock Bowers again could have another huge week. Marvin Harrison he's up and down, so he could have a really good game.
Yeah.
And Smith and the Jigba seems to be taking off right now.
He is hot.
He's got a little bit of magic there with the old man quarterback,
Geno
and
Smith.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think his ceiling's a little bit higher. So I could see him in around the 120 mark, and Juan getting around the 105 mark.
Okay.
So
Well, I will bet the off on this one. Let's see what happens.
Well, you got to try and climb
I
out of
got to
there.
try and recoup something here, right? I got to get back into the game. Oddly enough, this next matchup, Slick versus Bryce, an extremely important matchup with playoff implications here. It is heavily favored in Bryce's way.
Yes.
Bryce is projected 119 to Slick's 103. Everybody has picked Bryce so far. Mike, Andrew, Donnie, and Gabriel all picked Bryce to win. Let's break
He's
it
just
down.
got the better team.
On paper, it totally looks better,
Yeah.
but let me paint a picture. Jordan Love, Najee Harris, Kyron Williams, Jaden Reed, CeeDee Lamb, who's probably not going to play this week in all honesty, Cade Otton, Lad McConkey, who's probably not going to play this week, Keenan Allen, Darnell Mooney. Now, if CeeDee Lamb and Lad McConkey were 100% without injuries, I think Slick would have a chance. But because those two players are facing a type of injury that could seriously limit them if they do play, or remove them from play altogether because just like how serious their shoulder injuries are. And then if he has to pivot, he's got two options on the bench that are starters. And that's Jalen Warren as a flex play and Travis Etienne against Tennessee. And then nobody else that I would trust to put in my lineup.
Yeah. Slick's got to really pray to God that Love throws 2 or 3 touchdowns to Reed.
Yeah. I don't want that to happen as a Lions fan, but I understand the the desire.
Yeah, fitting for it.
Yeah. Now on the other side, here's what Bryce is playing. Josh Allen, great start. Aaron Jones, Devon Achane, George Pickens, Calvin Ridley, George Kittle, James Cook, Jordan Addison, Isaac Guerendo. Isaac Guerendo is now the starting running back for the 49ers, while Jordan Mason and CMC are on IR. Flex options. Does
Is
he have?
Kittle actually healthy?
Kittle is healthy. Brock Purdy is not.
But 2 weeks ago, Kittle wasn't even in the lineup. He was just in a sweatshirt. Last week, he just got 1 catch.
Yeah, but that was the snowball,
Is
and
he still
Brock
hurt
Purdy
though?
couldn't do anything to get anybody going.
I guess, but
Yeah. So I expect George Kittle to be okay. They're playing in San Francisco, so they should have at least the weather on their side. Yeah, I'm not worried. I think Kittle's an okay play. The things that concern me on his side are how much Calvin Ridley can disappear, how
yeah,
Jordan Addison can disappear, and how Aaron Jones can be utterly irrelevant. And he's playing two Vikings, right? Jordan Addison and Aaron Jones. So one of those is going to do something and the other will not.
yeah,
Just historically speaking, Aaron Jones performs when they need him to, which means Jefferson and Addison suffer. Well, if Jones doesn't do anything, then it's Jefferson and maybe Addison, if not Hawkinson, who get those points.
yeah,
So I went Bryce because I think he has the stronger floor play.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I
Everybody.
feel about either one of these teams winning this week, to be honest with you.
You want them to be a tie.
Yes, yes. If that could somehow end in a they go 7-6-1, that would be fantastic. I don't think that's would happen, but I would.
I wonder if that's ever happened in Sleeper.
I don't
If
know.
two
I don't
teams
think I've ever
tie.
seen a tie because we use fractional points to the 10th decimal.
Well, yeah, but still, you could end up in a tie.
It's possible. It's really possible.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Matchup number 4, we got Chervin versus Josh. Chervin's looking like the guy to beat here with 113 points to 107. He's got Baker Mayfield, Tony Pollard, Saquon Barkley, DJ Moore, Jamison Williams, Kyle Pitts, yuck, Bucky Irving, who's super hot right now, Jawan Jennings, and Malik Neighbors. On his bench, he's got a couple backup running backs, but nobody. So best starter. And then let's you talk about what Josh has got on the other side.
Yeah, like he's Geno Smith, Tracy, Dowdle, Cup. That's gonna be a tough one for Cup against Buffalo.
Against Buffalo, that would be a tough
Yeah.
matchup.
Drake London's gonna be tough against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Joku might be the only one going to get points in Cleveland.
Might, yeah, if it goes wrong.
Higgins could have a huge day. What's his injury? Groin, misses the practice.
Here, I thought you were talking about his pride, but okay.
Well, that too. And then you got Chase Brown against Dallas. Could have a good big game too. What's he got on his bench here? Davis, no. White. Gus Edwards.
No way. Gus Edwards is broken.
Is he broken?
Yeah, he's a shell of a man of what he once was.
Is he Kansas City gives up lots of run yards. That's the thing. Let's see what else they got. Let's see what else they got here. Nothing. A bunch of buys. Xavier Worthy, no. Tyler Lockett, no. Will Disley, no. Dalton Kincaid, maybe, but he's also questionable. So he's probably got his best lineup in there.
Mm-hmm.
But Shervin's gonna walk away with this one easily, I think.
You know what?
Unfortunately.
We all went Shervin, which I found surprising. I thought I was being the bold predictor here, but you went Shervin, Donnie went Shervin, Gabriel went Shervin. I'm curious to see
It's
what
just
Josh when he
he's got
submits his picks.
so many buys he's got this week.
Yeah.
So it's gonna make it tough for him to come back. And then we don't even need to talk about the last matchup because it's just brutal.
Yeah, the last matchup is you and Donnie, and everybody picked Donnie because
Yeah.
your team is essentially a shell of what it once was. But at least you do have some players that came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So if you had Kelsey, this would be the week. You had Mahomes, you had Isaiah Pacheco, you've got who? DeMarcado?
Yes.
Imari DeMarcado.
He's like the third string running back
Oh,
there.
okay.
That's
Yeah,
my that's
okay.
my only other my other running backs run by.
Yeah, okay. You got Keon Coleman, who's still out with injury. He was limited this week, so hopefully he can get back on the field for you. And you got Christian Watson. That could be a big blow-up play. Wandell Robinson. Who is that? Josh Weil? Tight end for the
He's,
Titans. I didn't even
he
heard of that
is
guy.
he's the backup tight end, so he's
Yeah.
number 2 on the depth chart.
Okay. Yeah, okay. You don't have any other tight ends, and I don't see anybody out there on the waiver wire that
No,
you
there's
could
not.
pick up at tight end. No, wait, there you go. That's the guy you grab. You grab Grant Calcaterra. That is
I
the
looked at
backup
him.
tight end. Yeah, but he's good. He's going to start this week because Dallas Goedert is out.
I'm not saying a word, man. You shush. You freaking shush.
At least we've talked about that guy
You
once before.
shush.
All right. That's it for this week's matchup. Should be fun. I'm definitely going to play some really close attention because of me, Bryce, and Slick battling for that last playoff spot. It's good stuff.
Paddling the wire.
Hey, do you even have any money left?
Yeah, I got
You got any
lost.
fab?
Yes,
That's right, because you hoard your fab.
that's right. Now I gotta go and change and put all my damn money in. What if I
Don't
need
put all
somebody
your
week 15?
you could probably put in $1. You could probably put in $0 and still get that guy.
Oh, jeez.
All right, well, let's get to this week's bet. All right, last week I made the bet. It was pick 6 losers. Oddly enough, we both picked all 6 losers. Bears, Panthers, Jags, Saints, Giants, and Titans. You got Raiders, Jets, 49ers, Browns, Bengals, and Miami, but you had the biggest point loss at minus 60, where I was at minus 42. So congratulations, you won last week. You now lead the series 7-6. I got to come up with a new bet.
Yep.
This week's bet, here's what I'm doing. I'm going with the over-under. There are 13 matches. We got to pick either the over or the under of the projected points using the scores over-under list. So if you want to pull that up while you got a moment,
I got it up.
I'm going to roll 1 dice, 1d6. Whatever we roll, whatever it lands on, is the number of matchups we each will pick. So if we get 6, that means 12 total matches will be selected.
Can I ask a question, Dungeon Master?
Yes.
Do we go poop in this? Do we go poop in this adventure?
Yes, you can go poop in this adventure. Do you want me to explain how this works?
Don't you remember the video I sent you about
Yes.
the people in the
Yes.
bar?
Viva la Dirt League. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. If you guys have never watched skit comedy, Viva la Dirt League do some really good sketch comedy bits around gaming, PUBG, role playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, video games. It's all good. They even do a little bit of stuff where they worked in a store called Playtech, which is kind of like the Best Buy Future Shop esque Radio Shack type store. Anyways, all right, are you ready?
Bring it on.
Drum roll.
Don't be a one. A quattro.
4. So that means I've already got it set up for 4. So that will be 8 matches in total. We must do the over under. We cannot pick the same matchup. Once a matchup is selected, it is off the board. And with the first pick, I've got to go have a look. Mm-hmm. Looking. This is interesting and tough because some of these matchups, what I'm looking for is something that is so terrible that is like, oh yeah, there's no way they're going to get to that implied point total. Try and take the low hanging fruit of going the under, right? As opposed to a team that'd be like, oh, that could be a really high scoring game. We could pick the over on that one. But we're sitting here. Okay, Lions and Green Bay are 51.5. Falcons and Vikings 45, 39.5. Steelers and Browns, they're in Pittsburgh. I don't know what is the. I wish it showed the weather.
Uh, um, do you have? Oh, let me go Wilson. Oh, it doesn't show it there either. I think it's on the phone. It shows the weather for your
Yeah, the.
players.
Hmm.
Who had some Pittsburgh players? There we go. Pittsburgh, Cleveland. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like cloudy. Like it's not like windy or rainy or anything
Or
like that.
cold.
Just
Okay.
well, it doesn't tell you the temperature, but it's not like it's not showing like it's storming or anything.
Okay, I'm picking Las Vegas and Tampa Bay. Their implied point total is 46.5. I'm picking the over.
Okay.
With the way the Bucks have been playing, the record does I don't think accurately shows how good the team is. So I will say Las Vegas and Tampa Bay 46.5. I think they'll go over.
Okay. That okay. Okay. I'm gonna take Cincinnati, Dallas, and I'm going under.
Okay, you're gonna go Cincinnati versus Dallas, and they are
49.5.
49.5. You think that was gonna go under?
Yeah.
I think it'd go over purely from the Cincinnati side. I expect Cincinnati to utterly destroy Dallas.
Yeah, but even if it's 30 to 15, it's only 45 points, right?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. No, that is a good point. Fix that up a little bit. Why did that? What did my thing do? There we go. Messing with my cells on my little table here. There we go.
Your cellmate
Okay, so
Bubba's teaching you how to do Excel.
that's the course I took. Bubba's way of making Excel go boom. Matchups that I like that I think like I expect the Titans to win, but do I expect them to win 20 to 14? These guys do make it tough. They do make it tough. Are the Bills are at the Rams, correct? That's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Bills at the Rams, so they're in the dome. The Jets are at the Dolphins. The Chargers are
Yeah,
at the Chiefs.
there's no game that's only the only game that could be crappy weather
Yeah.
is the Saints Giants. Everybody else is playing in fair weather places.
Wait, aren't the Giants indoors?
No, I don't think so. I think they're outdoor.
Oh, I thought the Giants Stadium was an indoor facility.
Both them and the Jets play in the same stadium. I think it's a
Yeah, they do. That's right. Jeez. Saints and Giants 40.5. You know what? I'm gonna take the over on that one too.
ooh,
I'm gonna go New Orleans versus NYG at 40.5. I'm going to go over.
Okay. I'm taking Seattle, Arizona over.
They are
44.
44.5. Yeah, I think that's not bad. That's not bad. I'd like to see that one go over because I think both those teams are fighting for the division lead.
And again, it's going to be fair weather. There's no reason why the weather's going to be a factor.
Jeez, some tough choices here.
We needed 4, right?
We needed 4. We each have 2. We need 2 more.
Yeah, I got my 2.
You do, hey? Man, I'm not sure where to go. I think the Eagles win over the Panthers. Their implied point total is a lot versus the Panthers. I think the Panthers can score a little bit here. Get up to, they're in Philly though. Tough ball.
25-21 at least. Or
Well, I think
28-14. No, that would only be 44.
Yeah, you know what? I'm
28-14.
gonna stick with the overs, and I'm gonna go Cleveland versus Pitt.
Damn it.
Go 43.5. Bet on the Jameis Winston excitement.
Well, I better take this next one in case you decide to go take it. I'm taking the upset of the week. Chargers versus Chiefs. 42-5.
Okay.
And I'm going over. And I think I'm putting it out on the limb. The Chargers win.
I think the Chargers have a chance of winning because I think they're just a solid team. I don't think they play. I think they play disciplined football, so I don't expect a lot of penalties, which will favor the Chiefs in this one. I just don't think the Chargers have the weapons to do it. If Ladd McConkey doesn't play,
I think they're pissed off about the way the last game went like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because they should have won that game.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think they come out, they're going to score quick, and they're going to go up. I say they go up like 21. Halftime is going to be 21-10, I think.
Whew.
And
I don't know how
then
they're
they
going to score.
score.
I don't know
Then they're going to
who
score another
scores the
one.
points.
They'll score in a second one another one in the second half. So it'll go 28-10, and then the Chiefs will score one, go 28-14, and then I've got I only need 28-15 to get my thing.
Yeah, I agree. It could be interesting. I just don't trust the weapons that the Chargers have. That's a team I think is going to spend in the offseason and draft. They'll grab some guys to make this team better. They need a running back, a reliable running back, and a starting wide receiver to go with Ladd McConkey. And
I
that
think
team
that's
is
what's
going
going
to soar.
I think that's what's going to surprise Kansas City is the Chargers are going to run all over.
Okay, that would be incredible for Gus Edwards because J.K. Dobbins is out.
Yeah. So I'll go with that one. You get your last pick.
My last pick. I don't trust the Jags with Mac Jones to do anything against the Titans. He's like, I don't want to pick that one at 39.5. The matchup I want to take is the Atlanta and Minnesota. The question is, who shows up in this matchup? Well, Atlanta can, like Kirk Cousins can ball out in this revenge game. Going back to Minnesota, and Sam Darnold can play football. They just haven't played great football in the last couple of weeks. So at 45.5, you know what? I'm going to stick with it and take the over on this one and just hope that the revenge game narrative really plays out. And these guys just throw bombs all day long.
Yeah, you took my Cleveland Pittsburgh was my other one. I really want to go Lions here, but no, I'm going to avoid that one. I think the Lions Green Bay game is going to go under. What's left? Bears, Seattle, Arizona. I've got that one. Carolina, Philly, Carolina. You got Raiders game, right? You got the Saints and Giants. Jets, Miami. I'll go Jets, Miami.
Okay.
And I got to go
New York Jets versus MIA. Their implied point total
44-5.
is 44.5.
Yeah. And I'm going to say under. I
Under?
don't think neither one of these teams can score right now.
Yeah, the Jets are essentially toast, in my opinion. Miami, I think, has a chance of scoring points at least.
Yeah, but even if they score 30 and the Jets score 13 or 14, I've got the win. So now if it's a tie, how are we doing it?
In this case, if we result in a tie where we both match up, it'll be how close are we to the over and under, right? So if we're wrong, that's bad. If we're right, that's good, right? So if we say it was supposed to be 44.5 for New York Jets in Miami and they scored 60, hey, that's great. That's good news for you. But if they went and scored like 32
I picked
in
the under.
total, well, you pick the under, right? So then that's good for you, right? But if they ended up going over that, like that's bad.
Well, yeah, because then I would that game wouldn't count. So if they go like 44 even, I get a 0.5.
Yeah, you get yes, because you were under, so you qualify. That counts as a win. But if we had to score points then on wins versus losses,
I
it
would
would
get
be the
0.5
point
on
differential. You get 0.5 on that.
that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I'm betting for a big week, baby.
You need
Let
it.
it happen. Let it happen. All right, well, that brings us to the end of this week's show. Thank you very much for joining and sticking around with us this evening. You guys enjoy your week. Be safe this weekend. I'm not sure what the weather's like wherever you guys are at, but it is balls out crazy here. We had blowing snow and rain, freezing rain today, and the roads were terrible. And yesterday it was +6, like balmy, wearing shorts, sunshine, everything's melting, and then overnight it just
And tomorrow it's supposed to get back up to like 3 or 4.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
These roads are going to be brutal the next couple days. So whatever you guys are doing, hopefully you had fun with your families and whatever you did for Thanksgiving. Enjoy your football. Good luck to those that are competing. Good luck to those that are trying to play upset. Have fun this weekend, guys. From one poor man to another, remember, if it's not fun, it is not worth doing. Good night, everybody.
Have a great week, everybody.